My name's Elizabeth Winger Young. I live in Lakin, Kansas, and I serve Lakin, Kansas Methodist Church or Lakin Methodist Church, and I also attend there. Oh, for years, I have tried to get rural Kansans to be more active at annual conference. I've watched them be underrepresented, and just rural and small churches in general. I've just watched them not float to the top. And being from Southwest Kansas, a town of 136 on a good day, having also served the largest congregations down to the smallest, I have a passion to be the voice for small and rural churches. I'm also the presiding elder in a district of all small and rural churches, and I know the reality of how hard it is to find, to train, and to find clergy that want to go to these rural areas. I hold the education of our clergy in deep regard, but at the same time, I want to balance that with the need to find effective clergy that are called and willing to serve these areas. And I think that's a needed voice at General Conference. This gives me the experience, the perspective, and I want to represent our conference in a way that makes decisions about the character and governance that affects both our large and small churches. At the same time, I believe I'm very global minded. I have served as a missionary to Benin, West Africa for 3 months in 2005. I was able to see the Holy Spirit move there like I've never felt before. One of the most profound things I witnessed was their generosity when they gave tithes and offerings in the church, they came forward singing and dancing, and the Holy Spirit was just moving. I left that mission realizing that it was the church in America that needed to learn something, not my Béninois brothers and sisters. Another unique experience I had while in Benin was that I learned French very quickly. At the time, I attributed that to growing up around a lot of Spanish and how close those two languages are. But reflecting back, when I talk about the gifts of the Holy Spirit, I deeply believe that I had the gifts of the tongue given to me in a very applicable way just for that moment. I can't assure that that's going to happen to me again at General Conference in 2026, but we can pray. So, to tie up this question, I want to bring the rural church to the global church and the global church to the rural church. I plan to represent the Heartland as a prayerful, Holy Spirit led leader, quick to listen and slow to speak. The Global Methodist Church is a movement that really wants to recognize and elevate lay voices, lay leadership, and I concur wholeheartedly. I want to elevate their character. I want to elevate their spirit at General Conference. Um, my vision for the denominational growth is fostering discipleship, mentoring leaders so that we can multiply leaders who multiply leaders and churches. We need to be a church that recognizes the gifts of the people around us and foster that growth and recognize it in people and tell them so. I also think that we need to listen to our non Anglo Western voices. Many don't realize that the churches in Africa and South America have grown much more rapid than the United States, and these voices have a lot to teach us about evangelism, church growth, and development. We laid a strong foundation in Costa Rica. We established our Episcopal process, our Constitution, our vision, and we showed great character and Holy Spirit leadership. I heard time and time again what a joy filled, worshipful process it was. Those who go to the General Conference in 2026 need to be committed to upholding our polity and sharing the connection with love and respect. Again, drawing on that joy and that worship of God our Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We need to continue our commitment to a Wesleyan expression of the church and ground that with prayer, ground that with passion, and we need to be committed to look for the work of the Holy Spirit for that to be our guide rather than what has happened in the past with strong wills or man made motives. We need to see and be committed to the work of the whole church and recognize that God's vision encompasses the entire globe. I want to go to the frontier of the church. I want to pour out our prayers and our resources to see that it expands.